Whenever a studio starts doing damage control for a product before it's even released, you know, in all likelihood, they know that it's going to be a massive disaster. And that's exactly what The Acolyte has been. Released a few days ago on Disney+, The Acolyte, the series that was created by Leslie Headland, Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant, that promised to be the wokest and gayest project we've ever seen from Star Wars, delivered on that promise, and it's been despised by fans. Sitting at a 27% on Rotten Tomatoes, that is the worst rated project that we've ever seen in the history of Star Wars, including the past decade plus of Disney Star Wars bullshit. So after the preemptive strikes on fans, calling them sexist, racist, bigots, blah, 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 you name it, we've seen it before, now Disney decided they need to do even more damage control because since the release, things have only gotten worse. So predictably, we have headlines like this today. The Acolyte delivers most first-day views of any 2024 Disney Plus launch. Oh, what do you know? Disney decided to release some numbers that they've never released before for first-day viewing for any of these projects, but similar to other things we've seen in the past, whether it's for Echo when they tried to lie to everyone and tell them it was a hit, whether it was when they released the numbers for the Ahsoka series when there was a lot of backlash after the premiere. Once again, Disney's trying to play around with some numbers that don't really have too much meaning if we don't have anything to compare it to and pretend like this is a massive success. Here it is from Variety. The Acolyte reaches 4.8 million views in one day, the biggest Disney Plus launch of 2024. Man, you know, if there had been a bunch of things coming out on Disney Plus, maybe that might be impressive, even with no context, even with no other numbers to compare it to, even with that being known, maybe, just maybe, that could be impressive. Unfortunately, the only high-profile launches that we've seen of 2024 have been, one, the Echo series, which dropped all 5 episodes at the same time and was a pathetic ratings failure, probably the worst-viewed Marvel series in history, and X-Men 97, which never even charted on the Nielsen ratings, not one single time. And now they're trying to fool everybody once again with The Acolyte. This is damage control at its finest, and I'll explain why in a second. The Acolyte, Disney Plus' newest Star Wars series, reached 4.8 million views in its first day of availability. This marks the streamer's biggest series premiere of 2024. An exact first-day viewership total isn't available for Ahsoka. Weird. That's weird that they would only release first-day numbers to try to get a good headline out of it when you never did that for something like Ahsoka. The most recent Star Wars series, though Disney did report that it took 5 days to reach 14 million views. That comes out to an average of 2.8 million viewers per day, 2 million below the launch of The Acolyte. Now, that is a kind of a dumb way to think about it. Most of them are going to be front-loaded when the episode releases or when most people are actually going to tune in to watch. But even if we take this really stupid equation at face value and assume that to be the case, there's a little bit of a difference here because it's very important to note Disney did not say the first episode of The Acolyte. They said The Acolyte, the series, meaning it included 2 episodes in that. So it gets to add that extra episode to those viewing numbers. Weird, when they've reported other things, like Ahsoka before, they said the first episode, not the series as a whole. So when you're comparing those numbers, you really have to consider cutting that number in half if you're going to average across 2 episodes. So that would actually be less than their stupid math equation that they used for Ahsoka. But this is what they told us for Ahsoka. Do you remember a lot of backlash, a lot of controversy over the first couple episodes of Ahsoka, and they wanted to do damage control. So they put this out, a number that we had never seen before, that we had no context to anything else. This is what Disney said back in, when was this? August of last year. Ahsoka, first episode. Not the series, not the 2 episodes that premiered, the first episode clocks 14 million views worldwide on Disney Plus. Now, as we later found out, Ahsoka did not hold up well in the ratings. Ahsoka, even with that number that they put out there, turned out to be lower than the premiere of Book of Boba Fett, lower than Mando Season 3, lower than anything else that had been released except for Andor. And of course, that's exactly what we're seeing again, the spin. Now, when it's all said and done, I actually wouldn't be too surprised if the numbers are relatively similar for Ahsoka and the Acolyte. There's a lot of people that are interested in the shit show that is the Acolyte, but just like for Ahsoka, we might see those ratings completely fall off over the next several episodes. That's what happened with Ahsoka. That's what I would imagine would happen with the Acolyte as well. But just as an example of some other type of spin that Disney has attempted to do, look at this. Disney's big numbers press releases don't always translate into big numbers for viewership. Remember when Variety again told us about the premiere of Loki Season 2, reached 10.9 million views in 3 days. That's one episode, by the way, not able to count in the extra episode for more views like they're trying to do for the Acolyte. And what happened? It ended up not even cracking 500 million minutes watched. Pretty pathetically low ratings when it comes to a Marvel Disney Plus series, but also a massive drop-off from the first season of Loki. What about for Echo? Do you remember what they told us for Echo? What Disney told us about Echo? Echo draws huge viewership with streaming debut on Disney Plus and Hulu. Marvel's Echo premieres at #1 on both Disney Plus and Hulu. What happened when we got the actual ratings? We realized that despite releasing all 5 episodes all at once to binge, they still had depressingly low viewership numbers, even with all of those advantages. So this is what Disney does. When they have a show that they put out, they get backlash for it. They put out this statement, these numbers that you have nothing to compare to. We've never seen them release first-day viewership for anything like this before. And not only did they try to fudge it up with not including just the first episode, but making it the entire series, but they also just gave us that first day. I'll be interested to see how they spin this going forward, but the truth is, this is predictable. This is what Disney does when they're trying to do damage control. They attack fans, they release numbers that really have no meaning because there's nothing to compare it to, and they use the slippery math to try to convince people that this is somehow a massive success. And the funny thing is, even if you took it all at face value and assumed, wow, it must be a really positive thing if Disney's saying this, despite having no actual competition, nothing that they've released in 2024 so far that's been high profile other than Echo and X-Men 97, that this is the best, that this beat those, and that's supposed to be impressive. The reality is, even if that were true, even if it was impressive viewership numbers, it is absolutely despised by the fan base. In all likelihood, a lot of people that may have tuned in out of curiosity or whatever probably are not going to watch after this. We saw massive drop-off for things like Amazon Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power after people gave that a shot and then bolted as soon as they fucking could. But it's as simple as this. Disney Star Wars, they launched preemptive strikes on the fans to do damage control, and now they're doing damage control, releasing numbers that not only lack context, but almost are specifically released this way to try and trick people. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.